Here is version 1.0.0 of Rogue Starfighter VR. Very much a work in progress. Go ahead and get my index on. But the idea behind this is basically a fan-made, I can't really say tribute because it's pretty directly Star Wars, a fan-made Star Wars X-Wing VR Starfighter simulator kind of thing. It'll make more sense as I show you through it. But anyways, we'll just get into it. Here's an X-Wing. You can see right off the bat. This is, I did not model this myself. This is a fan-made model under the Creative Commons license. We love that. You'll see right now I'm actually outside of it because it's set up to be in the middle of my play space, which you can see by the bounds over there. But I've made it so that we can actually calibrate ourselves to go in it. So the idea behind this is that this game is best played sitting down, just as you would be in a proper cockpit. So I'll go ahead and sit in my proper desk chair, and if I press the teleport button, then I'll teleport myself into the cockpit. And now here I am. You can see our little astromech droid back there, and we're securely in the cockpit. Now, this game, in theory, is kind of similar to the existing PlayStation VR Battlefront X-Wing VR mission that they made, like a little one-off mission where you fly an X-Wing around and do an air destroy. The main difference that I'm envisioning, though, is that game uses the actual PlayStation controller where you just use the joystick to control things. And here we're going to have a fully interactive cockpit where you can already see some of the buttons here that I'm going to touch. Additionally, that game is more narrative driven. It's like a little one-off mission that you do. It's kind of, you go in, protect some rebel ships and go out, and that's the end of the mission. Whereas here, I'm kind of envisioning more of an infinite arcade style, fly into hyperspace, shoot down as many TIEs as you can, get out, repeat. But we'll go ahead and get into it. So main control here is the joystick, and once I grab that, you'll now see I have control of the rotation of the whole Starfighter. So I can pitch up like that, pitch down, roll side to side, and I can even do a little yaw action back and forth. It takes a little learning to get used to because it's basically taking the controller, which is, by the way, using the SteamVR interaction system so I can get this hand tracking like this. And it's getting the controller's position and then scaling those different Euler angle coordinates by different amounts. So there's obviously a lot less turn in the y-axis in the yaw here. Yeah, that is yaw. Than there is in, say, pitch or roll, where you can pitch up a lot faster than you can yaw back and forth. That's more just a more of a feeling thing. You also notice that the ship and my character aren't perfectly in sync. That's on purpose. So when I move the ship up, for example, the ship moves before I do. So you see that I'm not moving my chair at all, but when I pitch up, the ship moves up, and my character kind of like interpolates its rotation using spherical interpolation towards the rotation of the ship, and that gives a greater sense of kind of movements and something like acceleration. I feel it kind of looks cool and might help with motion sickness. But that'll beside, there's very rudimentary turning right now. This is all very much prototypey right now, and everything is subject to change. But I'll go ahead and press one of the more interesting buttons. So this big red button, red is bad, right? When I press it, it's going to spawn in an Imperial Star Destroyer. That's what you're seeing over there. And this is not good news for me, except for the fact that no weapons are implemented in this game yet. So no one's going to hurt each other. We're just going to fly by and say hi. But here's another fan-made Star Destroyer model found on some 3D site. Actually quite a good model, but also fairly low poly, so it helps for game performance. But I can just go ahead and fly around here and show off the Star Destroyer model. We'll go underneath its belly there. I'm going to try to fly up, around, and between the communications antenna. Let's see if I can do that. Ooh. Oh, there's the engines. Might have gone a little too far. More or less. Pretty much got it. Could get it better with a little more practice, but yeah. Here anyways is a Star Destroyer model, and you can fly around. The idea, another big premise of this game, besides having an interactable cockpit, where you actually touch everything in order to control the ship. Another premise that I think is really cool in VR is showing the full scale of things. So showing what it really looks like to fight a battalion of Star Destroyers, Class 2 Imperial Star Destroyers, all deploying a bunch of TIE fighters, and ideally also with a bunch of X-Wings on our side also fighting. I think that would be really cool, but a lot of work and very taxing for the computer. But anyways, we can fly through here. It's nice. The speed here is, again, everything is prototypey and subject to a lot of change. Speed here I found is a kind of good enough balance for feeling fast, like you're actually in a proper Starfighter, and not making you instantly throw up. Because you notice some of these moves can get kind of nauseating in VR, especially if you don't have your VR legs on yet. Especially these kind of loopy things where you don't know where up is up. Yeah, but in any case, that's most of what's there for the demo, and then the very last button over there is, as we'll see in a moment, let me just get us into a better view. So we have all these Star Destroyers. Oh no, say I've spawned in a bunch more and it's gonna maybe slow down the performance. Oh, it's not slowing down yet. Still seems pretty smooth. These are a lot of ships though. I need to tweak that collider too. Just mash the button. That's a lot of Star Destroyers. But say I somehow created too many and it's slowing down. Just for this little demo, you can go ahead and press the green button and kill them all. And now back into the void and emptiness of space all alone. So that's version 1.0, 1.0, how do I, 1.0, maybe there, 1.0.0, Rogue Starfighter VR. A lot of prototypey, a lot of weird stuff. Also, you'll notice, well, you won't notice right now, but it looks like I'm flying towards the ship. I ran into a lot of physics issues with the Starfighter ship flying while the player was trying to fall around, and the SteamVR hand colliders not actually staying in sync with the hand models, and it made it so you couldn't touch any of the controls when you're going at high speeds. You're only limited to about 20 meters per second at best, and this is 160 now. So instead, what this build is running on is having the player actually, the Starfighter and the player VR body are at the origin constantly, and every other ship in the game, every other object in the game is, with of course a certain script attached, is just moving in the opposite direction of where I'm pointing with what I say my speed is. So those ships aren't stationary, and I'm not moving. In fact, I'm stationary and they're just moving opposite me. But it of course gives a nice effect as it is right now. Yeah, and there are some other weird things you'll notice as I'm flying here. Well, for one, using the HD render pipeline. So when I turn the windshield so that it's facing where the sunlight is, the windshield has what's it called? Iridescence on it, which is giving this cool rainbowy glare stuff. For one, it's kind of really bright when it's right facing the sun. You can't really see anything, which might be a feature, not a bug. But also when the ship goes still, some of the lighting changes and the iridescence kind of goes away. Yeah, you can see the reflection of the sunlight there. Yeah, so still some graphical issues, a lot of playing issues. I like to think that I have pretty good VR legs, so this stuff doesn't get me sick at all, but it very well might get others very sick really quickly, so it would be worth figuring out a safer system to handle all this. Yeah, and I think that's about all I have to say right now. This is version 1.0.0 of Rogue Starfighter VR. I'm building this spring of 2020, and hopefully going to be doing quite a bit with this over the next several months. But look out for more updates here on YouTube, also on the GitHub, linked in the description. And thank you. That's it.